on the ground now.
Go, go, go!
Hello and welcome to our Dev Corner for Stadium. I'm Chris. I'm one of the community managers on Battlefield. Welcome to the show. As you might see, we have a different setup today. I'm hosting this remote for the first time, so if there's any technical difficulties, we appreciate your patience with us. But we have two veterans on the couch in Stockholm at DICE, so I'm very confident that we're going to get this show on the road. Welcome to Bruce and Gabriel. And then also we have Kat, who's joining us remotely as well. So a double remote, double Stockholm situation. First off, I want to say hello to Bruce and Gabriel on the couch. Bruce, why don't you start yourself off with introducing yourself to those that might not know who you are and what you do at DICE.
Thanks, Chris. Good to see you, mate. And Kat, hello. Obviously, Gabriel too. I'm Bruce Brady and producer on Battlefield 2042. So my job's a bit, I always say this, working with more intelligent, clever people, they make the cool stuff. I just sort of sit in the background and keep an eye on it and, say, yeah, that's cool, let's do that. So, yeah, that's me.
And it works out oftentimes, so I'm very glad that we have you. Gabriel, what about you? The title says level designer. What can viewers expect from a level designer at DICE?
Sure. Hello, everybody. Hello, Chris. Hello, Kat. Hello, Bruce.
Hello, mate.
Level design, everything related to gameplay in the levels, in the maps. Making sure that stuff like line of sight, cover the flow of the different modes as well, setting those up, everything that the player has a really, really good time in the levels. Yeah.
Awesome. And that works a lot. We just talked about, before we started, Gabriel and I were chatting about Redacted because you were working on that as well.
Yes.
Awesome map and having a great time. So kudos to the team on this one. Kat, I just wanted to jump to you as well. Obviously, people that are in the Battlefield community might know you already, but for those that don't know, where can they find you? What kind of content do you do? And what can people expect from you today?
I'm Kat, and I'm a Battlefield content creator for quite some time now. Started on Battlefield 1 and then went through Battlefield 5 a bit and then really got into it in 2042. And I'm here to ask some questions today.
Excellent. Yeah, before we jump in to the questions and talking about Stadium, for those that might have missed, Season 7 is going on already. Turning Point is a live for a couple of weeks already. So for those that don't know, Stadium is a new map coming out tomorrow. And when I say new map, it is a part of a rework map from the Hourglass rework that we've done a month ago. And I know that Kat has questions about that, so we'll get to that in a second. But for those that are waiting to play Stadium, it launches tomorrow, April 30th at 12 p.m. UTC. That is 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and 2 p.m. CEST. So for those that live in Central Europe, about 2 p.m. is where I think our resets happens every week. So that's when you'll see those beautiful shots from Stadium as well. So jumping into the questions for Bruce and Gabriel, let's start me off with one, because obviously people have been talking about Stadium for a long while, even before I joined last year in October. How did we get back to Stadium? What was the decision-making process behind bringing the map back?
Crikey, do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
So on the production side, Chris, we running into Season 7, we had an idea about Haven and the narrative and what weapons we were looking at for Season 7. And, the drone was also part of that. And we kind of sat there and thought, how else can we add some value? And of course, the Hourglass rework had happened. Personally, myself, I'd seen a version of Stadium that a chap that Inga had made as a prototype. This was before I'd even joined DICE. So I think the idea was always there to have it. But specifically for 7, it was, can we bring, some extra value into Season 7? We've got Haven. Could we also, bring in a new smaller map? The players they'd asked for it. When we took it out of Hourglass, we saw that feedback on Reddit, saw what some of the influencers had said on YouTube. And, so for me on my side, it was quite a natural, yeah, okay, the team say they can do this, let's go for it. So, we weren't going to say no to it, put it that way. So, yeah. How about you, Gabriel? What on your side?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it quite well, especially that people requesting to have the stadium back. That was one of the big reasons why we wanted to listen to their feedback, which we always appreciate, and then we saw an opportunity to please them, if we can say it that way, right?
Yeah.
Great.
It's important to us, Chris and Kat. Definitely, it's thanks to the players for doing that feedback. If they don't tell us, we don't know. So, it was good to bring it back.
And as much as I hate saying this, you guys are also always reading and watching. So I know it's my job, and we try to get you away from some of the online spaces. But I know Gabriel and I were talking about this when we were prepping for the stream. You guys saw like Reddit posts of like, "Hey, it would be so cool if it would come back," and you actually were already working on it, right?
Yeah, it was really funny. Someone somewhere in the studio found some specific post on Reddit, some almost like a meme, almost like someone teasing Dice, and oh Dice, I dare you to bring the stadium back. And it was like, well, we're actually making the stadium, again. So it was really funny. Yeah.
Awesome. It's great when that kind of stuff happens, when we can bring something back that people wanted, but also make it something that is not just a passion project for us. So I'm glad that worked out. Kat, let's jump to you. I know you have a couple of questions prepped. Let's go with the first one.
Thank you. So I would like to pick up where we ended right here with bringing back Stadium as a result of the feedback from the community. Was that something that you had considered before already, like bringing it back? Or was it something that was purely made as a decision after getting the feedback from the community?
Ooh, that's a good question, Kat. So, I mean, I can just be honest from my side. As I said earlier, I think the community feedback was what pushed it over the edge. But, as I said, as a team, there was an older version of Stadium that had already been separated. It was in no way finished. It was almost like, sort of Orange Box style when I first played it. So for me, I'd say, the community saying they wanted it really did push it over the edge, and really made us bring it back. So, it was kind of on a list, though, is the other side of that story. We were looking at different maps. We often talk about Metro and things like that, don't we, Gabriel? So yeah, it's for me it was the community, that made it really happen. But yes, we were already looking at it, so it's a bit of both for me.
Okay, going one step before, when we were working Hourglass, you removed the stadium, obviously. Was that something that you had planned right from the start, or was it something that came as a result of the rework?
Do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, I mean, if that was such a long way back that I have to, I have to really dig inside of my memory. But I think, it was if I remember correctly, it was a result of the rework. Some decisions needed to be made for that big map to be relaunched as the rework. So then it wasn't the team working on Hourglass. I wasn't working on the rework. The team working on Hourglass rework really wanted to bring that level up to quality and have the stadium as part of it. But then during production we realized that it was probably a big project to bring everything back. So yeah, then the decision was made.
That makes sense. I think from a player perspective, sorry, Kat, it's obviously always sad to see a part go away that you love so much. But at the same time, I think that's one of those difficult decisions that a Bruce, a Gabriel have to make to get the maps still in a shape that they deserve to be. And especially the reworks for 2042 were so significant that cutting sometimes is part of it. And to layer on top of that, Gabriel, we talked about this a little bit. something that players might not be aware when we're bringing maps back or reworking maps. Part of those efforts are also in terms of like optimization and bringing things into shape that they haven't been before because we didn't think about it when we, cut parts out or create them. So, what are some things when you revisited Stadium that were not as obvious for players, for example, that you guys had to do and you knew immediately there was an effort that needed to be done?
Yeah, I mean, we had this situation with optimization performance. The map, was basically hitting some or eating up some FPS, some frame rates and stuff like that. So yeah, we needed to do a big pass on optimizing the area of the map and also the backdrop, which is in this case is the city and the highway, right, that you see from the distance. So yeah, as you said, like those little details that when you are on the other side of the whole spectrum, you don't really realize, how much work it goes into making all this machinery work. But yeah, it was a big effort from tech art and the environment artists, and yeah, they did an amazing job in that side, for sure.
Yeah, totally. It was, Gabriel's spot on. The job the team did on it was fantastic. And I think, for me on my side, again, playing the early version, the actual stadium bit inside changed so much, because that used to have almost like a little play base in there, almost like a half eaten up shed almost, and all this sort of thing, and that all vanished and changed. And then the car park area, I believe, was a bit bigger when we first started playing it, and it was things like you spent too long running up through the car park and the snipers in the stadium would just completely wipe you out before you got anywhere near. So yeah, it went through quite a few changes. There's a lot the players don't see as the maps take shape and the team shape them up. So
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's the one thing, the tech and environment art teams, you don't really know what they do. If you're a viewer, you're like, I don't know exactly what's going on with those. I don't know what these people are doing, but optimization and changing these little things and making sure that the doodads don't break the flow of the game are really important. And so shout out to the teams over there as well for making it happen. Kat, let's get back to you and a couple more questions.
Thank you. So you were already talking about that you had to make a lot of changes to Stadium and that it's basically now completely different from what it was before. Well, not completely different, but very different. Especially what Bruce said, there is like the inner part of the stadium looks completely different now. So what were some of the changes, like specifically, that you needed to do to Stadium, especially with the aspect of making it infantry only?
Yeah, I mean, so if we all remember how Stadium used to look before and the flags that were available inside of the stadium and outside in the front of it, there were way too few for to bring it as a standalone map. So definitely one of the biggest changes that we did was adding new flags, scouting different spaces that could potentially become objectives in the future for the different modes. Then as well things like, for example, improving the traversal flow in the inside of the building, right, inside of the stadium. And with the change that we did, for example, with instead of elevators, we brought zip lines, so we replaced those just to make it faster, quicker to move between the different floors. Stuff like, a lot of cover that we needed to put inside of the stadium as well. It was way too open. It was really cool in terms of, the architecture of the space, and it has a lot of potential, but we really needed to go, crazy in there to make it tight, to make it really reinforce reinforce that infantry experience, infantry only CQC experience that we wanted to go for.
Yeah, I've already seen the map a bit, and what caught my eye right away was the sublines. I really like that one. Just there's so many routes of flanking and everything, and that the elevators, I really don't like the elevators because they give away that you're coming because of the ping, and sublines usually don't do this. So yeah, really like that one.
Awesome. Yeah, go ahead. Let's
Yeah, but
shoot another one.
one more question, especially since it's infantry only. When I saw the layout of the map, especially for Conquest, you have 3 objectives inside of the stadium and then 2 on the outside. And I was wondering why you kept so much of the outside part and not only the inside part, because that's the actual infantry only part.
Yeah, I mean, sure. The
Before you start, Gabriel, we have a slight microphone issue on your side. So if you can speak up a little bit while we're changing those, that would be fantastic. So just, you have to speak a little bit louder. Yes.
okay, me, yeah, okay. I think I can do that. Is that better?
Awesome. Yes.
All right, cool. So let's see the question. Yes, I mean, just imagine if we had left the building, right, the stadium, as the map, putting 64 people in there, that would have been kind of crazy, right? Right.
True.
I mean, as much as we would like to, we would have loved to see that. Especially this guy, especially. You know, like, so we need to think about space. We need to think about the area of the map when we start, you know, putting conquest and breakthrough and all those modes in. At the same time, the great thing about the stadium, as opposed to, for example, Redacted, is that it gives the possibility to have CQC spaces, CQC experience inside, but then
Yeah.
at the same time we have some flags outside. You go outside, you have the blue sky. It you know, the experience is different. You can use longer ranges of weapon, for example. It's not as tight, so we have that contrast within the level, which we thought it was going to be really cool, you know, to deliver that. Yeah.
Okay, so this was also something how you approach the map. Like, okay, we have these modes. We want to bring it to this and that modes, and we have 64 players, for example, in Conquest. So how big does the map have to be, so it's not getting too tight? So this is something you have to consider as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. Always. Yeah. Scale and all that is also part of my job as a level designer. Yeah.
Awesome.
I just annoy him, Cat, and say, "Can I have 300 players in there, please?"
Great.
Will
So
it be available?
I wanted to. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Kat.
Question is, will it be available in Portal as well, so we can ramp it up to 128, make it crazy?
I believe so.
I believe so. Yes. Yeah. If
So
it's
players
not and they
can-
want it, we'll find a way
Yeah.
to do it. So,
There you
yeah,
go.
there you go.
Dice finds a
We
way.
both said it.
We know this. Exactly. Brew,
Great.
it's on paper now. It's gonna happen. We'll make it happen. On the topic of like creating the maps and you know, making things happen for a map that is being reworked, maybe for both of you, and we start with Bruce. What is exciting about having a map that already exists to be worked on versus like Redacted, where you know they go from scratch and everything has to be started from scratch? What's the exciting part for teams and like for you, Bruce, where you go just make something crazy on Redacted? But for this, you know, Stadium, very well known, people love it. What is the approach and what makes it exciting for the team to work on a map like that?
Great question. So I think it's a balance again, Chris. You know, the community had said, "Hey, you've taken Stadium away, we want it back." So it would have been no good if we'd come back with a completely different stadium, you know, or one that was like a little league. It only holds sort of 50 people. You know, it had to still have that scale and be a big, but yet not, you know, 128 players with tanks coming through it big. So for me, it's kind of exciting as the map is taking shape. And I suppose it's a bit personal, this one, but you know, I get excited when it's things like, what happens if we fill it full of pond hawks when you go outside? And it's got, right, we're not doing that because it's, you know, it's more infantry based. But then I'm thinking, well, maybe we do that with Friday Night Battlefield one night, or maybe that's something they could do in Portal. Other little things are things like when the trailer came out and we saw the first, just the destruction falling off the side of the stadium that was at the end of the original trailer. For me, it's little things like that, and just seeing the map take shape. Also taking the guns in there, I think, I mean, my tip is always the Scorpion and a throwing knife. I love that in QCQ. So yeah, for me, it's just being able to sort of sit back and watch what the team are developing and getting excited in the playtest each day. You know, you find secret, sneaky little ways to get around the map. Kat, you mentioned the elevator. I love the sort of emergency stairs, the quite wide stairs that service the different levels. You know, they're a lot of fun to jump down and get your backstabs on, or put some mines on it, put some claymores on it. So yeah, that's you know, the sort of producer response to that one.
Awesome. Yeah, Gabriel, we talked about this before stream, so I just want to give this also to the viewers. You said you worked at Redacted. Again, this was like from scratch, new map, everything has to be created. And then Stadium's like, oh, we have something. I use the example of like, there is something on the canvas already, but you still want to put finishing touches on it and change things. What is exciting for you and your team as well?
I mean, it was basically that, to have a, sorry, I hear myself in my mic.
Let's fix that.
Yeah.
It's very confusing for people that have not had that happen before.
I'm really sorry. Okay, now it's
No,
much
that's
better.
all good.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So, yeah, I mean, basically that, like, we started working in the level. We knew that there was something already there. We knew that there was an experience that the whole space could potentially bring, or could potentially be improved, and that definitely, as opposed to starting from scratch, that also has a bit of a fun challenge, you know, part of it, right? As you said, like, you have the canvas, you have restrictions, you know. As a designer, it is a dream to work with restrictions, you know. So you know that you can go crazy. You need to really find some solutions within the framework that we have. That's an awesome challenge. At least personally, I think that's great, right? So yeah, you know, yeah, that part of knowing what type of experience we wanted with Stadium, the possibility to test it really early because the space was already there, and then start like scouting areas and find, you know, possibilities to the different solutions and possibilities to the new flags, for example, what could work, what doesn't really work, all that. Yeah, really fun times in this type of work. Yeah.
Before we jump back to Kat's questions, this was a reminder for me as well, because you mentioned this before to me. People actually got lost playtesting a little bit, so you guys had to make adjustments. How does that process look like? And you know, maybe bring in the curtain back a little bit and tell people how the playtesting worked and how that was impactful for the design decisions as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons why it is so important to playtest. And yeah, I love that we have a system, an already established system for that. So yeah, as you said, people, one of the feedback that we were getting a lot was people not finding the way inside of the stadium. That the floors, they kind of looked too similar, you know, in a way. So one of the ways we found to solve that issue was using lighting, for example, having some distinctive lighting color and mood inside of the stadium in the different floors, as well as trying to find ways to dress the floors in unique ways. For example, you have the bottom floor. That one has a lot of sand. You don't see as much sand happening because it doesn't really make sense in the context of the space. But we also use that, you know, as a way of telling you, okay, you may not really know what floor you are on, but at least that's the sand floor. So when you're doing the, you know, when you're playing with your teammates, you can do the calls. Okay, I'm on the sand floor, for example, or the floor with the reddish light or the bluish light, and those stuff. And the same for assets as well. The assets, and by the way, for people who don't know, assets are the props, you know, the stuff that we put in the levels, right? So we also try and unify assets per floor, so they don't bleed too much between the different floors. So then, I don't want to spoil it super much because I want people to, you know, go in there and realize things by themselves. But yeah, then putting those specific assets in the specific floors will made it much easier for people to find the way inside of the stadium. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I think it's always fun when I check the Slack channels when we're doing playtesting and people have like wildly different feedback sessions, and it's always something new to discover. And then I just imagine people running around the DICE office actually being lost in the map and also in the office trying to find you and make changes. Awesome. Well, Kat, I now took some time from you away. Let's have another couple of questions from you.
Yeah, I have one more question. What I recognized when taking a first look at Stadium was that, as opposed to Redacted, almost all of the specialists can use their abilities. For example, on Redacted, you couldn't really play Angel because he couldn't call in his supply drop, or Sundance, or even McKay was kind of useless. But on Stadium, it's different because the map is quite different. It's not as linear. It's more vertical. But is this something you considered as well? Like bring a second infantry-only map and having Redacted already with these limitations? So was this something that you had in your mind as well when thinking about bringing the map back and also designing it?
Yeah, I'd say so, Kat. Yes, because like with Redacted, of course, when the team started to build that, of course, we play test with all the specialists, and throughout the play testing, you discover pretty quickly, because there's some really good Battlefield players in this building. The classic as well, Mackay's hiding up in the pipe. Nobody can get to him. It's really bloody annoying. Over time, we look into it. We try and find ways of maybe adjusting that. It's not always possible to have all the specialists work fairly, on all the maps. So with this one, with Stadium, a little bit of both. We wanted it to work with all the specialists. The verticality, as Gabriel said, we've got the different flags on the different levels. There's the car park and there's the actual Sandy Stadium bit as well. So, we just found as we were playing through it that yes, it is fair. It feels fair for all the specialists. Knowing our community though and how bloody good they are at the game, I'm sure they might find something somewhere that might be a bit snidey. If we see that and they tell us, we're jump in and fix it. But yes, is the answer. It's definitely a consideration. We want people to use their specialists, the characters they love playing as. So it's not always possible, as you've seen. But, we do that for fairness and balance. So it's definitely considered, yeah.
Do you have anything to add, Gabriel?
Yeah, I mean, I can add to that one of the benefits of having, going back to one of your questions, Kat, one of the benefits of having the outdoor spaces is also right. So then Sundance, for example, can use the wingsuit, right? If we have limited that space to only having the inside of the stadium, then and also Angel, or if we had limited that to the inside of the stadium, then at least those two characters, they would have been super limited, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. What would be your personal recommendation as a specialist for Stadium?
Oh, I can give you one, and Bruce can give you another one.
Or your favorite?
I would say, I would say Crawford. Just put that what's the name?
Oh, the gun emplacement.
Yeah,
the classic.
Yeah. Just put it in the middle of that. Just put it in the middle of those hallways, and people are gonna respect you. Yeah, definitely him.
The Crawford base with the gun emplacement.
Yeah.
I'm biased because I play too much. I mean, I always play as recon anyway. But so I'm gonna go Rao, and I'm gonna choose either the Scorpion with the drum mag because it's a really fun sub, or the classic shotgun throwing knife, and then my C4 traps. That's just very personal to me. but yeah, that's why I like sneaking around in corners and getting backstabs and throwing knives down there's some great lines of sight though, down the longer corridors, which I've had a couple of crazy, almost full corridor knife throws. So yeah, that would be my tip. So.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I feel like also all weapons can come in handy on this map. So you can actually play every weapon you like, no matter what you prefer.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's pretty cool as well. So I have one question left.
Go for it.
Go to it. So Stadium will be available in different modes, obviously. How will the size differ? And I mean, the player count will differ, but how will the size and the objectives differ throughout these modes?
Yes, yeah, it will be available on all the modes. So Conquest, Breakthrough, Rush, TDM, FFA. And yeah, I mean, the size is going to be different. For example, Breakthrough is going to be a little bit more restricted. Also Rush, because of the nature of the modes. You will still be, do the journey from the outside to the inside. I'm not going to spoil too much. That's all I'm going to say about those. And then FFA and TDM, it will happen inside of the stadium, which I'm really, really excited to play. I really like how we could pull off those modes in there. And that was those modes, like when we started working on the stadium, I was in my mind, I was like, yeah, TDM and FFA inside of the stadium, let's go. We gotta do it. So yeah. So obviously it's going to change in size because we have to. So yeah, there you have a little bit of how the different modes will look like, more or less. Yeah.
So Team Deathmatch will be only inside the stadium, and then you have all this verticality to go.
Yeah.
Or will this be limited as well in the?
Will. You will see.
Be.
You will see. Yeah.
Okay.
You're not going to be able to go everywhere inside.
Okay.
So yeah.
That aligns perfectly. We just got a chat question as well from Scabberflix. That was also talking about the challenges that you face when you make those different modes for a map like this. So like, what are some of the thought processes and maybe some of the things that you recognized early on where you're like, oh wow, we actually have to make adjustments for mode X, mode Y, for breakthrough and all that kind of stuff. Like, how does the team approach that?
Yeah, I mean, it always depends on the level, really much. In this case, that was a bit of a challenge, to be honest, because of we didn't start from scratch. When you start from scratch, then you plan, you prioritize some modes, but then you have in the back of your head, okay, this area is going to work for TDM or Rush. This area is going to be better for Conquest or like bigger modes. In the case of Stadium, we really needed to find a way and scratch our heads and see how we could manage to have a good flow for the linear ones. Those were a bit challenging. But yeah, it's basically that. We look at the level, we play the level, we take into consideration the design of the modes, what it is expected for the modes, and then we do the flow, right? The top down and all those stuff of those specific modes. But yeah, the linear ones, they were a bit of a challenge, and but I think we found some good stuff to put in there. Yeah.
And if we haven't, we'll sure hear back from players and we can make adjustments.
For sure.
I know that the team is excited about people getting their hands on Stadium as well. Cool. I think we went through all of your questions, Kat, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Perfect. Then let's jump into some tips and tricks and some unpacking of things. I know, we heard about throwing knives and backstabbing people a lot. Gabriel, what are some of the things that you think will shine for players if you jump in the stadium tomorrow?
I think one thing is that we have sprinklers. That's the word.
That's
right?
the one we took. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That we did a tiny. It was a kind of like a nice to have thing. We had some extra time, and so we made it a little bit stronger and a bit thicker inside of the stadium, especially in the top floor. So then you throw grenade, and then they come off, and they're intended to limit visibility just for a small period of time. So then you can make a quick escape, or I don't know, you can get behind someone and throw some nasty knife, or something like that. Or you can just kill Bruce. Maybe he has killed you way too many times. So
I'll be there. I'll be playing. I'll be online.
Yeah, and then the things with the zip line, elevators, those stuff. We have an extra entry point, so entrance into the stadium, just to improve the flow a little bit. So go and look for that one. Try it, test it, have fun. And then right back to us, and then we will try to fix it as much as we can.
Yeah, I think it's one of those, go in and play how you like to play. I like going in and being sneaky. You can do that in this map. We mentioned Croft and the gun emplacement earlier. If you work well with your squad, you're going to find places in the stadium where, you can build, your little base, and you're going to be dug in like a, I hate to say it, but Alabama tick, love Predator. So, you can do that. Some extra tip, I'd say, one when you're capping flags is going to be keep an eye on the entrance and exit ways that service the seating area, the actual sort of inside of the stadium. Because I've run out of the amount of times I've been blindsided because I just forget because I'm just looking up and down the corridor. So I'd say keep an eye on those. If you like your movement, learn about the emergency stairways and the elevators. Get used to zipping around as well, because there's some good there's occasional little shortcuts that are in there you can find. So yeah, it's pretty intense. It's a pretty intense map. So I'd say there's a lot of things to unpack, depending on the mode that you play it. Free for all feels very different to Conquest in there, for example. I mean, obviously, but
Excellent. Kat, you had a chance to play early. This was obviously very much alone, so there's not much experience with shooting or knifing people from the back. But is there anything that you want to add, like any specific things that you'll start doing immediately when people come in?
Well, I had some bots on the server, so there were some people that could be stabbed. Well, I would add that there are some interesting explosive barrels that you can shoot as well to deal some damage. So I like that. And the fire extinguishers, they blow up as well. If there's someone sitting next to them, you can have a good line of sight. It can be helpful. And like Bruce already said, there are some good lines of sight also for snipers. So if you like to play as a sniper, look for them. And also keep an eye on those zip lines. You can really, really get surprised sometimes.
I just imagine people sending the elevators up with nobody in it, and it just blinks like in Die Hard, and people get surprised. We'll see how that works out for them. Gabriel, obviously, as a level designer, you go through levels over and over again. Stadium has this very big space at the heart of our community as well. What are some of your favorite places when going through the map and things you revisit just for having a gander and taking in the view, or some things that you really enjoy that the team put together and changed? Give us a couple of examples of what people should visit when they first see Stadium in live action tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big star of the map is the interior of the stadium. There are some really cool stuff happening with lighting in there, the mood of it as well. Maybe a bit of storytelling happening inside. So I really liked how intense from a visual point of view the inside of the stadium turned out to be. But yeah, also the outside. It's hard because I worked in the level and I like everything about the level. The same happened with the Redacted. It's really hard for me to choose specific areas. But I would say probably that the different floors. There is one floor in particular I'm thinking about it has some cool bluish, lighting going on, and yeah, that one is it's really cool, I think. Yeah.
Bruce, any corners that people should stay away from before they get
I'm
knifed
not
by you?
telling you that, man. If I give my secrets away, I'll lose games tomorrow night. So.
Chat, if you get knifed tomorrow, send us at Battlefield on X. It might have been Bruce, just so you're aware. Excellent. One of the things that I wanted to bring up as well is like we obviously have Stadium coming out tomorrow, and that's very exciting. But for those that want to see gameplay today, we have Kat joining us for the streaming event that will start in about 20 minutes. So people from all around Twitch and YouTube will be joining us on a server and play Stadium early. So if you want to get a first impression, make sure to check that out. Kat will be streaming on YouTube at The Catwoman, where she currently is also live. So if you enjoyed having her with you and seeing her knife maybe some people as well, that's going to happen in about 20 minutes. Any last things to mention, things that players might have missed or will miss when they first jump in there? I will also say, because I know chat is already talking about Easter eggs, and Kat wanted to know about Easter eggs. You'll have to figure those out for yourself. There is no comment on that. But Bruce, Gabe, any last words on things that might be a first miss when you come and jump in Stadium, or just anything else that you have left in your repertoire?
For me, things that you might miss, it's got to be look up because of the verticality. I know we mentioned it a couple of times, but I think it will take a few players by surprise when they first see the different levels and the way that it's structured. Yeah, Easter eggs I can't mention. No, the only other thing I would say is, thanks for the community for the feedback, and obviously thanks to Gabriel and the team for making it happen. So, how about you, Gabriel?
Give TDM and FFA a chance, try them out. Yeah, I mean, I really hope that people have a good time. I think that will be the case. So play everything and also play TDM and FFA for sure. And again, I mean, thank you very much for the support. Everything that has been written on Reddit, you too as well, Kat. Thank you for all your videos. I've been watching you a lot, so I really appreciate that, and reading the comments and all the stuff is really putting some light into what people think about the game and what people think about the features that we release and all that. It's really, really helpful. Yeah, appreciate it a lot. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, shout out from me as well to Kevin, Total FPS. He's our community manager who does a lot of the feedback gathering and sending that over to Bruce and Gabriel and the other team. So shout out from myself as well. Kat, you are the last person standing. Any shout outs, any things that are coming up on your channel, anything you wanna promote right now is the time?
Yeah, nothing to add to what you said already. I'm live right now and we'll be playing Stadium later. And yeah, just wanted to say thank you guys for bringing back Stadium. I really missed it when it suddenly vanished from Hourglass. It's good to have it back. And yeah, thanks for the invitation here to the stream, to the pre-show, and for the nice chat.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thanks,
Well,
Kat.
thank you very much to all three of you. I hope chat had a good time as well. Thanks for having me host on the remote island here over in Canada. So I hope the experience was good. We'll do this again, I'm pretty sure. Again, for those that might have missed it, Stadium goes live tomorrow, April 30th. That's a Tuesday at our usual reset time. So that's 12 p.m. UTC, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. Pacific, and 2 p.m. for those in the middle of Europe. Again, we look forward to hearing your feedback and seeing you play as much as you can. We're super excited to have Stadium back. And yeah, if you don't have anything else to do right now, join over at youtube.com at the Catwoman for more Stadium gameplay. You actually will see the map in action and see her potentially knife some people. So thank you for tuning in, and we see you next time. Have a good one.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Approaching on the ground now.
Go, go, go!